America thought it knew these icons. The Disney child star who grew up before our eyes, the Emmy trailblazer who changed television forever, the brilliant mind behind The Matrix, the punk rocker whose voice defined rebellion for an entire generation. But behind the fame, the awards, and the cultural legacy, each of them was carrying a truth the public never saw. For years, sometimes decades, they lived with identities hidden beneath the spotlight. Until one revelation changed how millions of older Americans looked back at the stories, songs, and films they once loved. Tonight, we revisit the most shocking transgender transformations in modern American culture. Not because of scandal, but because the people we thought we knew were living far more extraordinary lives than anyone ever imagined. And once you hear what they were hiding, you may never look at their legacy the same way again. Joy Ladin's story stands as one of the most profound and culturally shocking transformations in American academic life. As the first openly transgender professor at an Orthodox Jewish institution, her decision to live openly as a woman challenged not only personal expectations, but centuries of deeply rooted religious and cultural tradition. For older American viewers, especially those familiar with faith-based education, the magnitude of that moment feels almost unimaginable. What makes her journey so compelling is the extraordinary risk involved. Joy had already earned tenure and held a prestigious chair in English at Yeshiva University before returning to campus openly as herself in 2007. That return became national news because it placed scholarship, religious identity, and gender truth in direct conversation in a way mainstream America had rarely seen before. Rather than walking away from the institution, she stayed and transformed her lived experience into groundbreaking memoirs, poetry, and theology that explored gender through the lens of Jewish sacred texts. For older viewers, the emotional power lies in the fusion of intellect and identity. This is not simply a transition story. It is the story of a respected professor who risked reputation, community, and career to live honestly. Her memoir, Through the Door of Life, gave many Americans their first deeply thoughtful look at transgender identity within Orthodox Judaism, turning what could have been controversy into a lasting legacy of courage and wisdom. Juno Dawson's story is one of the most compelling hidden truth journeys in modern literary culture. Long before the world knew her as Juno, she had already become a best-selling British young adult author, earning international recognition through books like This Book is Gay, Hollow Pike, and Say Her Name. For many older American viewers, what makes this story so gripping is that her public success came first. Fame, acclaim, and a devoted readership were already firmly established before she finally revealed the truth about who she really was. In 2015, after already becoming a major literary voice, Juno publicly came out as a transgender woman, a reveal that instantly reshaped how audiences saw her remarkable career. The moment carried enormous emotional weight because it transformed her from a beloved teen author into one of the most visible transgender voices in British publishing. Her transition diary for Glamour magazine gave readers an intimate look at the courage, fear, and hope behind that life-changing decision. For older viewers, the power of her journey lies in the blend of intellect and identity. She evolved from a successful YA writer into a broader cultural voice on gender, womanhood, and authenticity, later channeling that experience into books like The Gender Games. What makes her story so unforgettable is the sense that the best-selling author readers admired had been carrying a profound personal truth for years, and when she finally shared it, the reveal felt both shocking and deeply human. Laura Jane Grace became one of the most talked-about figures in American rock when she publicly came out as transgender in 2012, right at the height of her career as the lead singer of Against Me. At that time, the band had already built a fierce reputation in punk rock, with loyal fans across the country and a legacy of rebellious, emotionally charged music. Her decision to reveal her true identity while already established as a major rock star sent shockwaves through the music world and quickly became a major media story. What made this moment so powerful was not just the announcement itself, but the courage behind it. Laura had been one of punk's most recognizable voices, known for intensity, defiance, and raw honesty on stage. For many longtime American rock fans, especially older viewers who remember the band's rise in the 2000s, seeing such a respected frontwoman openly embrace her truth felt both surprising and deeply moving. The story became even more compelling when she transformed that personal journey into music. Against Me, this landmark album, Transgender Dysphoria Blues, turned her transition into art, giving listeners a rare and emotional window into her inner life. For older audiences, this is more than celebrity news. It is a story about survival, authenticity, and the courage to live honestly even under the spotlight. Laverne Cox rose from years of ridicule and rejection to become one of the most groundbreaking figures in modern American television. Her journey reached a historic milestone in 2014 when she became the first openly transgender actress ever nominated for a Primetime Emmy in an acting category, thanks to her unforgettable role as Sophia Bursay in Orange is the New Black. That nomination was more than a personal victory. It was a defining moment in television history that changed how millions of Americans saw transgender representation on screen. What makes Laverne's story especially powerful for older viewers is the contrast between her difficult past and her eventual rise to Hollywood royalty. Before fame, she openly spoke about the bullying, mockery, and exclusion she faced while growing up and pursuing her dreams as a black trans woman in America. Those painful experiences now make her transformation into a red carpet icon and respected actress feel even more extraordinary. Her before and after image is one of the strongest in celebrity culture, not simply because of physical appearance, but because it represents the transformation from invisibility to worldwide recognition. From magazine covers to major award shows, Laverne became a symbol of dignity, perseverance, and historic change in American entertainment. For many longtime viewers, her story is not just inspiring. It feels like witnessing history unfold in real time. Lilly Wachowski became part of one of the biggest identity reveals in Hollywood history after helping create one of the most iconic films ever made, The Matrix. Long before the world knew her as Lilly, she and her sister Lana changed cinema forever with the 1999 sci-fi masterpiece, a film that redefined action, philosophy, and visual effects for an entire generation. For many older American viewers, the Wachowskis are forever linked to the golden age of late 90s blockbuster filmmaking. What made Lilly's transition story so shocking was the timing and the scale of her legacy. By the time she publicly came out in 2016, The Matrix had already become a cultural monument, and millions of fans saw her as one half of the creative genius behind a modern classic. The revelation instantly became one of Hollywood's most talked about moments, not because of scandal, but because it reshaped how audiences looked back at the mind behind such a groundbreaking story. For older viewers, the fascination comes from the genius behind the masterpiece element. There is something deeply compelling about learning that the visionary filmmaker behind Neo's journey was also navigating a profound personal transformation of her own. Years later, Lilly even confirmed that The Matrix carried themes tied to the transgender experience, giving longtime fans an entirely new way to understand the film they grew up loving. For many older American rock fans, Mina Caputo will always be remembered as the unforgettable voice behind Life of Agony, the Brooklyn metal band that defined pain, rage, and emotional honesty in the 1990s. Long before conversations about gender identity became part of mainstream culture, that raw voice was already speaking to a generation of listeners who felt misunderstood. What makes Caputo's story so shocking is that while fans spent more than 2 decades seeing the image of a fierce male metal frontman, a much deeper private struggle was unfolding behind the scenes. For years, Caputo wrestled silently with gender identity while continuing to perform with the same intensity that made the band legendary. The first major shockwave came in 2011, when Caputo publicly came out as transgender and began living as Mina. For the heavy metal world, a scene long associated with toughness and hyper-masculine imagery, the revelation was groundbreaking and deeply emotional for longtime fans. That transformation became even more visible with the 2013 solo album As Much Truth as One Can Bear, where Mina's appearance and public identity reflected a dramatic new chapter. Yet what stunned audiences even even more was that none of it changed the voice. When returning to Life of Agony, the same crushing, unmistakable sound remained, proving the soul of the music had never changed. Then came the 2024 plot twist. Caputo announced plans to detransition, return to the name Keith, and fully resume living as male by 2025. For older American viewers who grew up watching stories of resilience and reinvention, MJ Rodriguez's journey feels nothing short of extraordinary. Long before she became the unforgettable heart of Pose, MJ has shared that she was already praying to wake up as a girl by the age of 7. That private pain stayed hidden for years, making her later success feel even more powerful. At 14, she found her first real sense of belonging in the ballroom culture of New York and New Jersey, a world built by people who had been rejected elsewhere. For many older viewers, this detail gives even deeper meaning to her later role in Pose, because Blanca's strength mirrors the very community that once helped shape MJ's own identity. One of the most shocking turns in her story came after her breakout performance as Angel in Rent in 2011. Just as her acting career was gaining momentum, MJ made the bold decision to step away and focus on her transition. For any young performer, especially in that era, it was a remarkable risk. When she returned in 2017 as Blanca Evangelista in Pose, it felt less like acting and more like lived truth on screen. Millions of Americans connected with the tenderness, courage, and dignity she brought to the role. Then came the historic 2021 Emmy nomination, making MJ Rodriguez the first transgender performer ever nominated in a lead acting category. Munroe Bergdorf's story is one that has left many older American audiences stunned as they reflect on the transformation of the fashion and beauty industry over the decades. Born in England and having attended an all-boys high school, she later described herself as a very feminine boy, always feeling out of place in the roles society imposed on her. This feeling of not belonging fueled her later journey, shockingly. It wasn't until she was 24, after years working in fashion PR and silently enduring inner conflict, that Munroe officially began her transition. But once she embraced her true self, her rapid rise almost astonished the entire British fashion world. In just a few years, Munroe became one of the most prominent figures in the transgender community in London and gradually entered the heart of British fashion culture. The turning point that caused a media frenzy in the UK and US came in 2017 when she became the first transgender model to represent L'Oréal UK in a campaign. This was seen as a historic breakthrough in an industry that had been closed to transgender women for generations. The story spread even further when, just weeks later, her collaboration with L'Oréal UK was terminated for speaking out against racism, transforming her from a model into a powerful voice for social justice. Munroe's return was even stronger. In 2022, she became the first transgender woman to appear on the cover of Cosmopolitan UK in the magazine's 50-year history, proving that her voice could no longer be ignored. For many American audiences who lived through the pop-rock wave of the 2000s, Teddy Geiger remains the image of a young singer with long hair, a guitar, and her hit song For You I Will Confidence playing on the radio. She was the quintessential American teen heartthrob that an entire generation remembers vividly. Therefore, the truth behind Teddy's life has been one of the biggest shocks for those who loved the music of that era. What few people know is that Teddy later shared that she felt she was a girl from the age of 5. In the context of America at that time, where there was little openness about gender identity, especially for a child growing up in Rochester, New York, that feeling could only be kept hidden. That silence lasted throughout her childhood, her teenage years, and even during her time as a music idol. As the spotlight of his teen pop career faded, Teddy took on an even more surprising role, songwriter behind major hits for Shawn Mendes, One Direction, and Maroon 5. This created a significant twist for older audiences. The person they remembered as a prominent figure in the early 2000s was actually shaping modern pop music from behind the scenes. Then, in 2017, Teddy caused a media frenzy when he publicly declared, "I am transitioning. This is who I have been for a long time." That moment wasn't just a personal statement. It allowed an entire generation of older fans to look back on their musical memories in a completely different light. In the end, the most shocking part was never the transition itself. It was realizing that some of the most beloved names in American culture had been carrying these truths quietly for years, sometimes decades, while continuing to shape the music, films, books, and television that defined entire generations. From child stars and groundbreaking actresses to legendary rock voices and the creative minds behind The Matrix, these journeys remind us that fame only shows part of the story. The deeper truth is often hidden beneath the spotlight. Waiting for the moment courage finally takes over. For many older Americans, these stories feel more than surprising. They feel like looking back at familiar faces and suddenly seeing an entirely new chapter that was there all along. And maybe that is what makes these transformations so unforgettable. Not simply who they became, but the strength it took to finally live as who they had always been. The greatest legacy was never the transformation itself. It was the truth, the courage, and the humanity behind it. If this story surprised you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who grew up watching these icons. And in the comments, tell us which transformation shocked you the most.